The FPV world is a bunch of freaking masochists. Like, every time someone tries to make our lives easier, tries to make FPV simpler and more accessible, we say no thank you, and we just do it the hard way. It's almost like we love the punishment. We love the fact that we have gotten through all of the BS. We kind of know how to make things work. And then when someone comes along and says, what if other people didn't have to suffer like that? We say, no, everyone must suffer. But what if there was a product that was simpler, easier to use, didn't give up much in terms of functionality, and was way freaking cheaper? I'm Joshua Bardwell. You're going to learn something today. This is the Radiomaster T8L. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the DJI RC controller. This is the Radiomaster T8L. Boy, you can sure see how I got those confused. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. This is the Radiomaster T8L, the new controller from Radiomaster. And ostensibly, this is targeted at beginners, but I almost think it's unfair to say that it's targeted at beginners. I'm going to show you what Radiomaster has done to make this easier to use, but everyone can benefit from that. Not just beginners. Before we get into that, let's just take a look at the form factor of the radio. First of all, no, that is not how you use the joysticks. It comes with these little screw-in joysticks in the back, very similar to the DJI controller. Okay, I'm not going to do that for the whole review. I think you get the joke. They screw in, so these are not standard gimbal sticks. If you try to get some of those aftermarket 3D printed stick ends, they will not go on. These are designed to come off completely, and that's really good. I guess if you're going to put this in a backpack is the main place that would benefit you. It'll go into a backpack and there'll be nothing sticking out to damage the gimbal. Although I have to say, I've been putting my controller in a backpack for years now. I've never damaged a gimbal. I have damaged a switch, like 2 times in 7 years. I've damaged a switch. I've never damaged a gimbal. The only time I've damaged a gimbal is when I've dropped the radio and it like falls straight on the gimbal. I've done that one time. It was 2 days ago. So there you go. But they come off and they will fold down right there and go into your backpack. The gimbal ends are, they're fine. They are relatively short gimbal sticks compared to the gimbals on other radios. And the gimbals themselves are relatively small, but they have a pretty decent feel. They're quad ball bearing Hall effect gimbals, so there's no potentiometers inside them to wear out. And I'm just moving them now. They feel relatively smooth. The spring tension feels pretty nice. They feel not premium, but certainly not cheap. And when I tell you the price of this radio, you're going to be shocked. As far as switches, knobs, and buttons, here at the top we have switch SA and SB, and both of those switches appear to be momentary switches. But I'm going to show you later how in software you can change that. They are physically momentary switches. They do not latch, they do not lock into position. You just press and they release. But in software, they can be made to act like a 2-position switch, a toggle. Press once to go one way, press once to go the other way. We've got 3-position switches here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rocker switches, and here we do have a latching switch. That means when you press it, it stays in. When you release it, it goes out. And here we have a potentiometer knob. And it does have ratchet. It has a little ratcheting, a little clicky feel that helps it hold in place. It does not have a centered detent, but when we power up the radio, you'll see it does have a beep that beeps when it's centered. Finally, we have 2 trim switches, and these are 4-way rocker joysticks, so we can trim up, down, left, and right. Probably a little hard for you to tell which way I'm pushing my thumb, but we do have full trim capability. If you were to use this with a fixed wing where you needed to trim it in flight, you can trim both of the sticks using these trim switches. That's all there is. There's no Edge TX. There's no screen. But this radio does run Edge TX underneath. But then how do you configure it if there's no screen? This is the part where Radiomaster made your life easier. Check this out. I'm going to hold down the menu key. How's there a menu key if there's no screen? There's no menu. Haha. I'm going to hold down the menu key and power up the radio. And then I'm going to plug in USB. And then I'm I'm going to go to this URL, and I'll put this URL in the video description below, but also this URL is on the product page for the T8L radio. This is a Radiomaster web app. I'm going to hit connect. I'm going to choose the Radiomaster T8L, connect, and okay, yeah, that's fine. And look at this. We've got our own configurator app, similar to EdgeTX configurator, but way less complicated. It's got basic settings, and yes, there are going to be some things you can do. If you're an EdgeTX nerd like me, you're going to be like, oh, but I want to program it. I cannot make it jump through hoops and dance for me. But many of us aren't EdgeTX nerds. We just want a little controller that does what we want it to do. And the functionality here is not lacking. Like, for example, here in the device tab, we can configure the switches. And you see here, this switch is set to click, but it can also be set to single or double. And you see there, when I press it, it goes to position 1 and position 2. In fact, if we go to the channels tab, we can see channel 6 is going up and down. So we've turned that into a 2-position switch. No programming. No, I could do that with EdgeTX. I know how to do it. I've got a video about how to do that. You didn't invent that, but you didn't have to do any programming or any nonsense. You just changed a setting in a web app. You probably like it that way. Now the single click doesn't do anything. I have to double click it to change. Oh, that's nice. That's to prevent you, I suppose, from accidentally clicking it and like doing it when you didn't want to. That's really slick. And then the default is just momentary. That's pretty slick. Switch SE. So we can do the same thing with switch SD over on the right side. And these switches can be 3-position, or we can change them to 2-position. And of course, physically, they will still be at 3-position, but basically the middle position doesn't do anything. So full up and full down are 2-position, middle position just leaves the channel in its previous state. That's pretty slick. Let's see, we can change the volume of the beeps. Here is that slider, and there's the mid-tone. That tells you that that slider's in the middle position. And then some basic information about it. And we've got a channel readout screen that shows the output of the channels. You can see the channel values. Yeah, got a little bit. How's the jitter on that gimbal? Not bad. Looks like we have maybe 1 point of jitter on the gimbal. The others are holding solid at 1500. Yeah, not a lot of jitter on the gimbals. That's good. Channel settings, we can change the output limits. So those are our endpoints, and we can reverse the channels. And that's it. Custom curve? No custom curves for you. Can do that in EdgeTX. Channel mapping, we can change the channel, which control is which, mapped to which channel. Very simple. Again, nothing complicated. No complicated mixes or anything like that. Just you can reorder the channels. That's it. And then we've got trims and sub-trims, and we can see the trims move as I push the switch. And we can put sub-trim in if we desire to. And then lastly, we can change the mode of the radio from mode 1, 2, 3, or 4, but you should use mode 2 as God intended. Here in the RF settings, this is basically the ExpressLRS Lewis script. That's it. All of your ExpressLRS options are here. We have a max power of 100 milliwatts. That is the max. That's more than enough for hobbyists, although people who do bando flying around obstacles or who do more long-range stuff are going to want more power. This isn't the radio for you. It also has an internal antenna, so you're going to get less range than if you had like a dedicated external antenna. But you know, the range is, well, I haven't tested it yet, but it's probably acceptable for the kind of person who's going to buy this radio. And I love that it comes shipped with a default packet rate of 250 hertz. Some Radiomaster radios have shipped with a default packet rate of 1000 hertz, which is the fastest, lowest latency, high performance packet rate, but it's also the shortest range. And beginners would get their fancy new ExpressLRS radio and be like, why is the range so much less than I've been sold? 250 hertz is a fantastic compromise between latency and good range, and that is exactly, that's what I run on most of my stuff, and it's what I would recommend. And we can start binding here just by hitting bind. And lastly, firmware update. And amazingly, Why wait for the device to be ready? Is it not ready? That's weird. I had the option to do this before. I'm not sure why I don't have the option to do it now. Well, anyway, you can update both the internal ELRS module and the Radiomaster system firmware straight from here. You don't need to do any ExpressLRS configurator, any of that nonsense. It just updates the firmware for both of them. Bing, bang, bong. Except right now it doesn't want to, and I don't know why. Oh, this game needs a controller for the best experience. Well, if only I could plug this in and have it act like a controller. You can, obviously. I'll tell you what, these gimbals are going to take a little getting used to. Maybe I just suck. Ugh. Maybe I just suck. I don't know. Come on. There you go. And this guy. Oh god, I'm crashing. Oh god. Oh, we got drones in the sky too. Targets on the ground. Drones in the sky. Don't crash into the building. Oh, that's going really well. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Oh, get on him. I don't know if I've gotten used to, I think I've gotten used to the sticks. It took me a little bit. That was literally the first time I've flown them. Yeah, percentage upgrade drone. Oh yeah. Okay, I no longer think there's a problem with these joysticks. I think I've just gotten used to them. I just wasn't used to them. Now it's fine. It took me that long to adjust. Oh, geez. Wow. There you go. Signal. So, yeah, you can play video games with it. And, yeah, the gimbals are okay for flying. Are they going to be, like, the best in the world in terms of their precision? The fact that they are so small, the sticks are so short, definitely means that it takes some adjustment if you're used to longer sticks. But there are also pilots who feel like shorter sticks are, like, it's easier to jam them around and more responsive. So I think that's a matter of taste and not necessarily a deal breaker. Okay, then, the price. And before I reveal the price to you, I want you to think, what do you think would be a great price for this radio? This is not a leading question. I'm not like, I'm going to tell you what it is, and I want you to already have a number in mind. So then if it's higher than that, you're like, oh, well, that's BS. I don't need to buy it. And if it's like way lower than that, then you could go, oh, well, geez, yeah, that's a really good price. The actual price, $35. $35. And if you're in the United States, it's possible that when you buy it, you'll get a tariff and it'll be $50. Okay, well, that's still not that much. $35. I was shocked that it was that low. I'm not trying to say, oh, this is such a good radio. Oh, it's amazing. I am pretty impressed with the gimbals for $35. Honestly, they feel decent. The overall build quality feels really solid. This does not feel like what I would expect if you told me that you were going to hand me a $35 radio. In fact, if we compare it to the Radiomaster Pocket, I mean, the Radiomaster Pocket is a more expensive radio. It was Radiomaster's budget line. It was his least expensive radio until now. It feels pretty firm. The gimbals feel fine. There's no problem, but I don't know, maybe it's the clear plastic shell. The Pocket always had this kind of like, oh, I'm a little chintzy, I'm a little cheap feel, and this doesn't. It feels good. I expected it to be closer to $50, $60. So when I saw it was $35, you could buy this easily, just use it for gaming. Use it for a simulator. Hand it to like a new pilot just to, you know, get their feet underwater. That's not a saying. You don't get your feet underwater. In fact, I think the real question, if you're thinking about buying this radio, is should you upgrade to the Radiomaster Pocket? The Pocket is about twice as expensive. It's $65 instead of $35. And frankly, the form factor is in some ways not as like nice. This has more of a nice ergonomic feel. This is plenty ergonomic. It's just not as like pretty to look at. The gimbals are very similar. Maybe a little bit better feeling. I'm not sure. The controls are very similar. In fact, the controls are identical. Holy cow. But the main difference is that the Radiomaster Pocket runs HTX. And that means that when we bring up this screen, you can do all the programming in the world. And I think that's the big question. If I say, you can program this radio to do anything you want. Do you want this switch to be a 3-position switch or a 2-position switch? Or do you want this switch to make it do whatever you want? Does that sound exciting? Then you don't want this radio. You don't want the T8L. You want the Radiomaster Pocket or the Radiomaster, a different HTX radio with a screen and full programmability. But if that all sounds annoying to you and you just want a radio that does the basics for $35 freaking dollars, there's a link to the Radiomaster T8L in the video description below. Totally buy it. It's not going to have the range, performance, and capabilities. It's not going to have the programmability of those other radios, but it's just going to kind of get the job done, more or less. And if you outgrow it and decide you want something different, you won't have spent that much money. You just take this inside and play video games with it. There's 2 places I think you should go from here. And the first is, if you are interested in the Radiomaster Pocket, which is the least expensive radio Radiomaster makes that has a screen and runs full-on HTX, you should check out my review of the Radiomaster Pocket. I said that it's perfect for 3 specific people, and maybe you're one of those people, in which case this is the radio you want. Or, well, the T8L didn't exist at the time, so take that with a grain of salt. The other thing I think you should check out is I have a full HTX playlist where I go through all of the setup and configuration of HTX, and that playlist has some more advanced programming tutorials like press a button but only change the channel if you've held the button down for 5 seconds, etc. And if you're like, well, what can HTX do? Or you want to get a little deeper into HTX programming, here's my HTX playlist. Check both of those things out, and I will see you there.